Parkcast, the UK's original theme park podcast.
Welcome back to Parkcast, Park fans. We are your podcast if you are a theme park fan. If you're new here, hello, welcome along. We're going to do some theme park chat. I'm Bex. I'm joined by Kev today.
Hi, everyone.
Kev's here. He's back from his house move. And I'm also joined by Kip Hakes.
Hello.
We've got the dream team on the podcast today. We're all here.
Absolutely.
We're all excited, and 2/3 of us are full of lurgy. So it's going to be a ride. It's going to be a wild one. Kev's safe. Me and Kip. How can two people at opposite ends of the country who've not been face to face end up with the same disease at the same time?
Yeah, it's amazing, or not.
It's one of life's great mysteries. Except yours is plain flu, and mine's toddler flu. But yeah, if you missed us talking about this a couple of episodes ago, Kip has just been on a little fancy trip to New York, which you've just returned from.
I have. I'm over the jet lag, but I'm not quite over the plane plague.
It's worth it though, Kip.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It was
absolutely.
worth it.
I was quite surprised when I saw you on Instagram checking into the upper class lounge.
I know.
I was like, sorry, I didn't realise who we were dealing with here. Someone who flies upper class.
I've changed. Someone actually messaged me and said, "Oh, all those Meta Ray-Ban POV videos are certainly paying off." Yes, they are.
And I've recorded a couple more from my upper class seat.
Yes, I have.
Champagne glass in hand. Honestly, don't expect that kind of treatment on this podcast.
We're all economy class right here.
We're all cattle class. You're lucky to have a seat. Okay, well, I'm glad you had a great trip. And we're going to have a chat today, I think, about half term in the UK, because it's rapidly creeping up on us. We've all got kids. We all know the fear that hits you in the pit of the stomach when you see those dates rolling closer and closer. You're like, the schools are going to close. The preschools are going to close. I now have to entertain my children for 7 days, unaided, which... It's a mountain to climb, and it's one we must climb, and it's one we can climb with the aid of theme parks, which I think as theme park fans is our default go-to. What are we going to do this half term? Let's go to a theme park.
And we're getting so close to that March opening time as well. This is kind of like that point where it's like, right, it's been long enough now. I need my fix.
It has dragged, hasn't it, this close season?
Absolutely. It really has.
It
so
feels
half
like
term
ages.
is that great opportunity.
Yeah, it's the first chance that a lot of us have got to get back into the parks. It's the first chance a lot of us have got to see what's happened over the close season. And even if some of the major rides aren't open, it's just nice to just go and have a nice theme park day out, because it's what we do. It's why we're here. It's what we enjoy. And obviously we can share it with our kids as well. So hopefully get them indoctrinated into our little roller coaster enthusiasm cult, which allows us to do it more and more in the future. So there's been a bit of a kerfuffle this week online.
What?
I know this never happens around Alton Towers. And Kip, every time that you're on the podcast with us, I seem to be saying we've got an issue with Alton Towers, and I hate doing this to you because I know that you are an Alton Towers content creator. You got the badge and everything.
Yeah, I've got the badge and everything.
And I don't want us to sound like we're just here going, what, Alton Towers this and Alton Towers that, blah, 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 because that's not what we do. And we are fans of the park. I mean, Kev, you've been obsessing about Alton Towers for...
Since the 90s, yeah.
So we're not here to just neg on Alton Towers at all.
I will always try and stand up for that part no matter what, but there are sometimes you just have to go, look, there's an obvious problem somewhere and it's worth bringing up and just sharing it. You know? Yeah.
And I think that's what we've seen this week. So the issue we've had is they're obviously opening the park. Well, not the park. They're opening CBeebies Land and Mutiny Bay for February half term. It's the pirate takeover. They did this last year. They've done it for a couple of years. And it's always worked really well. It's been a great event. I went last year. I took my then 2-year-old. We had a lovely day out. My husband was deployed at the time. And I was very much in I need to go and sort my head out somewhere good that I'm going to enjoy. And Alton Towers was my go-to place to go and do that. And we had a really great day together. This year, something's strange has been going on, and they've been heavily advertising the pirate takeover. Tickets from £15 if you want to go and take your kids for the day, which sounds like a bargain, to be honest, to go to see.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, definitely.
It is just CBeebies Land and Mutiny Bay out, although they've just added Spinball Wizard
Yes,
to
yeah,
the lineup
that's
as
very
well,
good to hear.
Yeah.
which is great. But 15 quid to go and do that. Sea Life Sharkbait Reef's open as well. I think that's great value. The issue that we've had is in the last few days, no one's been able to book it. So you can go online and try and book your day out in half term, and they've all been greyed out, and apparently it's sold out, which I don't think any of us were expecting to see.
No, not at all.
No.
It's very strange. Very, very strange.
Are all 3 hotels open as well?
Yes.
And all the stargazing pods and everything?
The stargazing pods, no.
Okay.
But the hotels in Charter Village, they were all open. And I think this is what's got people's backs up a little bit. So at this point where you can't book your £15 day ticket, which has been heavily advertised because it's sold out, you are still able to book hotel rooms, which include obviously access into the park. And you seem to be able to book hotel rooms for pretty much every day. There is availability, availability of standard rooms as well. It's not like just like when Kip went and the Smiler Suite was the only option left.
Yeah.
Still love that.
There's kind of availability for everything. And the price for those hotel rooms seems to have gone up astronomically compared to last year. And I've got the receipts for that because, like I said, I went last year and I stayed in a hotel.
Okay.
And I dug out my my sort of invoice for it, and it was £160 to stay in the CBeebies hotel last year.
That's great value.
It was amazing. Yeah, it was
really good.
Yeah, I've never ever seen CBeebies that low, so it was perfect. But this year the equivalent was 317. Yeah.
Wow.
It's exactly the same thing as well.
Exactly the same thing, and that's not just inflation, is it? I mean, that's 57%.
Is that why they're saying that you can't buy day tickets? Because they're trying to get people to stay in the hotels?
Well, yeah, this is the theory, is that there's 2 theories going around. One is this year Easter is really late. So because Easter's really late, all the schools have pushed their Feb half term basically as late as they can. And it's meant that they've done it all in the same week. Whereas for the last few years, schools have there's been like a 2-week half term, hasn't there? One half of the country's kind of done 1 week and the other half's done the other, which has meant that the park has got 2 weeks of available opening time to try and maximise their revenue. This week, they've got to squeeze it all into 1 week. So yes, I guess it's potential that the park has sold out for their limited capacity because everyone's trying to go in the 1 week compared to spreading themselves over 2. That doesn't really explain why there's still hotel availability, because you'd also expect the demand for the hotels to be so high that they would have sold out as well.
Yeah.
So I just wonder if they have thought, we've only got 1 week, we've got to maximise it. We do that by really bumping up the price of the hotel for those weeks. And it's kind of bit them in the bum because they've pushed it so hard that people have gone, I'm not paying that much.
Yeah, that is mental. You know,
and do you get your annual pass discount as well? Or do you get your annual pass?
I'm not a pass holder, so I don't know. All I can say is that last year I used a defence discount to book it. This year I wasn't able to do that. That was greyed out.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know what it's like for you guys. I don't know if you can still book with
because I'm sure that's happened in the past where they kind of look at, well, we've got so many pass holders, and if you've got everyone who has an annual pass that's a gold or platinum Merlin one, and they just turn up on the day, and then you've got people. I'm assuming that's how they're trying to balance it out.
Possibly.
Potentially.
I am just looking online to see with the because it's like the Merlin Holiday Club or something like that, where you get the discounts, and the link through to Alton Towers to book at a reduced rate is actually broken. So
Good. Good. Classic Merlin. Yeah, I think in terms of pass holders getting tickets, again, there was a bit of a to-do about that because there were pass holders saying they couldn't book tickets for February half term. It was shown as sold out for everyone. It's now the situation as we record that if I go on as a regular guest, I can't book any tickets. It's showing as greyed out. But for you guys as pass holders, you still have the option, don't you, to book some of the days? Yeah,
still showing for me.
So that's good. At least they have kind of fixed that for pass holders, because I do think that's unfair. If you've paid for an annual pass and the park is open, It's really
Mm.
harsh to go, you can't come in.
Yeah, but hotel guests can.
Yeah. And we still have availability for those hotel guests as well. And they're not being booked. So yeah, it's been a bit of an interesting one. I have booked because I managed to get some Saturday tickets when they re-released them just yesterday. I've kind of booked almost begrudgingly because I don't think this whole thing has been handled that well. But my daughter really wanted to go, and you know, it's the way we do things, isn't it, as parents? And I want to get back to Alton Towers as well. And we had a great time last Feb half term. Let me not, let there be no confusion about that. We did have a really, really good time. So we will see. We will see how it pans out. I'm looking forward to seeing what's gone on in CBeebies Land, if it's had a little bit of a spruce up.
Yeah.
After what we were talking about last week about IPs and, CBeebies Land is like a big property and it's not always kept to the best standard. And it was open at Christmas as well.
Yeah.
So they don't always have that much time. But even then, it won't take that long to sort it out. And I think we've said before, haven't we, how frustrating it is sometimes walking into CBeebies Land. And it just doesn't always look to scratch. You'd think if you go with the Polton's Park model of keep everything looking fresh and clean and well looked after, it always blows my mind that CBeebies being a BBC property isn't.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting half term to see if they've actually done something to kind of the upkeep of it all. And with Postman Pat, I'm guessing it still says Postman Pat on the list of rides. From when I looked at it, I obviously not closed it yet, have they?
I'm fully expecting it not to be open, but I mean, it will be a lovely surprise if it is.
Yeah. I must admit,
Get
I
your
did
last
think
ride in on
that
Postman Pat, everyone.
it wouldn't be there, but yeah.
I will. We will report back on that one. Yeah, I'm hoping they've got the jet wash on Iggle Biggle, because it was a
Bit specialist.
It was a bit like The Walking Dead riding through that at the end of season.
It doesn't take much, just with a bit of a cloth and kind of go around all the things and just give them a bit of a clean up.
Just a cloth. That's all we need.
Just that's what it is, just a bit of a clean,
I'll bring my own.
Yeah, I'll just hop out of the boat, get a clean, I'm hopping the next one, go to the next thing. Give the ha-hoos a bit of a clean down, although I'm a bit short, so I might need a step ladder to get to the top of those ha-hoos. But hey,
Okay, well, we'll see. So this is Alton Towers. This is Feb half term. One thing to comment on, as we said, so Spinball Wizard's going to be open, which is great. They have wound down some of the entertainment. So the pirate show is being wound down, which again has had a bit of a backlash, which I can understand why. The entertainment team are very good. It's a shame what's happening to them. And also, when you're going for something like this, where the full park isn't open and it's the pirates takeover, you kind of want to see some pirates.
You want to see them take over. That's the whole thing.
Exactly.
Not just one sole pirate in Mutiny Bay.
Yeah. I'm kind of interested to see how this does play out. I'm sure they'll have stuff in the hotels, and I'm sure there will be some actors and stuff around.
When it's a pirate themed area, you want to maximize that theme.
Yeah. And there were loads of pirates in Mutiny Bay, like walk around actors and stuff like that. And it genuinely added to the atmosphere. So yeah, it's a bit of a shame that is being cut back on. They open Spinball Wizard instead. Fine, great. We've got a coaster open. That's good news for a lot of us. Obviously, not so much for the little kids.
I would just love them to open some of the other dark rides.
Yeah,
if I've always said that it seems a bit weird, like in these February half term events, you've got 4 dark rides at Alton Towers that are all operating. That they're indoor, so whatever the weather, it shouldn't matter. Just get them open. You then get more capacity. If you want to get more, if you're selling out tickets because you've only got a very small section of the park open up these other bits. Open Hex, David Williams with Gangster Granny. The kids, it's because these are family rides. It's not like these are all part of the family offering at Alton Towers.
Yeah.
And it just baffles me that you get more capacity, you're going to sell more tickets, you can get more people in because you've got more on offer. So it kind of baffles me that they don't open them. And again, whether it's just because of a staffing thing or
Yeah,
What? You
logistically
know?
opening other sections of the park. I mean, it's been done before, but this is probably for another episode. But I worked on a big campaign with them going back probably 12 years or so, where they were opening for Feb half term, and they had Nemesis open. It
Yeah, they
was
did too.
Yeah, I used to
it was
do
a
that.
big thing. And we did a huge thing. This is how Oblivion got its world record. That was something that
Yeah,
I
yeah.
put together for them.
Yeah,
Um,
that's true.
and it's unfortunately that year it was freezing, like it was literally snowing, so it kind of the event didn't go as well as they'd hoped. But that shouldn't be a reason why they couldn't do it anymore. But yeah, Dark Ride's opening. Maybe in the future when they get that whole Cloud Cuckoo Land, David Williams area, wherever it needs to be, maybe
Yeah,
it'll start to all come together. We
yeah,
can hope.
definitely.
And yeah, like you say, yeah, more areas open, more capacity. There's clearly the demand for the tickets, hence it all kicking off this week. So yeah, it would
Yeah, we
definitely
used to
be
go
interesting.
multiple times in those. We are talking like 12 years ago now, aren't we? Like 2012, around that kind of
Yeah,
time. Again, we used to go multiple times in the week because it was half term, and it was just great because there was quite a lot open. So it was worth going.
yeah. We will see what the future holds for it, and I'll report back on my little half-term undertaking. But as I said on TikTok this week, if you have missed out on those Pirate Takeover tickets, there is no need to fear. We have other options. There's a lot of the UK theme parks opening actually this Feb half-term, which means if you want your coaster fix, you have places you can go and get it. Let's take a look at where we could go as an alternative if we were hoping to go to Alton Towers and now we can't. And I think the most obvious place to start is Drayton Manor because it's just down the road.
Yeah.
And we've got Thomas Land open there, Thomas Land and the zoo.
And Thomas is celebrating his 80th birthday.
He looks
So
good
they're
for
doing
80.
this.
Yeah,
I know,
he
right?
is.
He's getting some Botox or something there, isn't he?
Absolutely. So they're doing this whole big thing at Drayton, which looks really cool, like a special Thomas Land kind of big celebration. It's also 75 years of Drayton Manor, I believe, as well. So they're doing this whole big thing, and that looks great. Very similar to Alton Towers, isn't it? Where you've got Thomas Land open, and I think it's Accelerator as well. That's kind of like your other kind of one coaster that's opened. They have made it very clear on the website that there aren't any of the thrill rides open, and it's just going to be that, which is good to know. I just love Drayton Manor at the minute. They're
It's
doing such a
great.
good job.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd be looking more at Drayton at the moment.
I think
Again,
if you-
because of the offering that CBeebies Land has and
Yeah.
what you're going to get at Thomas. You're going to get more rides at Thomas Land. So it's kind of weighing it out like that, basically.
if your kids were excited for CBeebies Land, they'll love Thomas Land just as much. Thomas Land is better than CBeebies Land in my opinion. I get if your kid is fixed on a specific character from CBeebies, you've got that extra kind of pull. But in terms of the offering, the theming, the entertainment, Thomas Land is brilliant, and I think it's a great day out. They've got tickets available every day for Feb half term for that. So they've clearly not got a capacity issue there. Which is interesting. What's your thoughts on Thomas Land, Kip? Have you taken us there?
I quite like it. I think I find it a little bit hard to sort of navigate. I think because they've sort of squeezed so much in to a small space, I found it a bit sort of weird, not everything links up and everything like that. But yeah, it really does the job perfectly well. And if you're a Thomas fan, and even if you're not, kids love trains and things like that. So
Exactly.
yeah, no, it is a really nice sort of land, and they do look after it as well. It always looks really nice, and it is. If you've got a small person, you could sort of go and have a really nice day there and actually have a full day there and not be bored. There's sort of lots of rides and things to do.
Yeah.
And it's not so reliant on sort of, walking around the sort of sensory garden and stuff like that. There's a lot more to do rides wise there, I think.
Yeah.
Is the zoo open as well? I
It
didn't.
is, yeah.
So you've got the zoo as well. So you've got the zoo, Thomas Land Accelerator, and the zoo is really what I like with the zoo, and how you've got the dinosaur kind of bit as well. That
Yeah.
then you've got the train that takes you from that bit into Thomas Land. It's also that bit's all nicely connected all together. And And I think I know what you mean, Kit, with how they are kind of all placed a certain way. But
Yeah.
what the benefit I find in Thomasland compared to CBeebies is if it's busy, you've only got so many rides in CBeebies land, and you get certain rides that will get a huge queue, get set go, in the night garden, postman pack for however long, you know, all of these kind of rides, even go jetters get very busy. But I guess the advantage with Thomasland is that there are so many different rides.
Yeah, it's
Queues have
spread out.
always kind of felt it's only really troublesome trucks because it's a coaster that normally is the busier one. But we normally found that we can get on pretty much everything in a day at Thomasland
Yeah.
and at Drayton simply because everyone's so spread out.
Yeah.
So that's an advantage I'd see in Thomasland.
It's definitely a good option for you if you were hoping to go to Alton Towers. Another great option, depending on where you live in the country, is I think Paultons Park. So if you are sort of Alton Towers way, it is a bit of a drive. However, if you're in the south, it's not so much, especially if you're in the southwest, South Wales, places like that. Paulton's really, really accessible. And they are interesting because they are not just opening Peppa Pig World, they are opening their full park, which we love
That's
to
amazing.
see.
That's amazing.
They're doing really great stuff there. Now, obviously, they've got a new dark ride opening this year as well, which isn't going to be open for Feb half term. But just the fact that they've gone, do you know what? We could just open Peppa Pig World, but nah, we'll open the full lot. It's just giving
it's
you
really good.
a really, really good option for a day out. It's going to mean that if you've got kids who are a little bit older than preschoolers as well, there's a bit more for them to do.
Yeah. No, you just can't argue with that. It's just fantastic. You know, just a whole theme park open, ready to go. None of this. Oh, it's just this little bit here. You know, everything's limited. I think that's amazing, and I think doing stuff like that will make the difference, and people will sort of remember that going forwards.
Yeah,
And they're not
absolutely.
charging a lot for it either. It's really reasonably priced to go and have a day out there. They do packages as well. They don't have like an on-site hotel, but they have sort of partner hotels who are nearby, and you can book 2-day packages. You get your second day free. Really, really great stuff that we're seeing down there. Also, I found this interesting. They're actually open this weekend.
Oh,
Which
wow.
no other park is.
Amazing.
Everyone else kind of does next weekend, which is the start of half term. If you fancy a theme park fix this weekend, you can go and get it at Bolton's.
And if I compare it to other places we've been looking at, like my three girls are all of different ages,
Yeah.
you know, it's the perfect place to go at the minute where you're going to get a lovely mix of so many different types of attractions. You've got coasters and really well themed rides. You've got Peppa Pig for you toddlers, and you know, so it's a great park anyway. But the fact that it makes it stand out even more, I think. You know, we look at Thorpe Park's not even open.
Yeah.
Thorpe Park's not even open.
Chessington's
And,
not even open. So Chessington, the zoo is open, but
just the
Chessington's
zoo
not open.
and the sea life. So
Yeah.
like if I'm in the south part of the country, I'm not going to go to Chessington just for the zoo and the sea life.
Yeah.
No.
I'm going to go to Polton's where I'm like, I want to go to a theme park because I could go to any other zoo.
Yeah, that's
You know,
true.
that's the
Yeah.
thing.
True.
Drayton Manor's got a zoo, but then they've still opened this and that and everything else.
Yeah. I was really surprised that
No.
Chessington haven't added any rides to their lineup at all. I think it's bizarre to me, really. I know Legoland's not that far away. Now, Legoland is open for half term. It's not a cheap option if you're not a Merlin pass holder. It is the most expensive day ticket on the list. It's an option. If you've got kids, you know what Legoland's like. Like, Legoland is Legoland. You've got to go there. You've got to go and experience it. But you're going to
Yeah.
queue for it.
Yeah. Oh,
We've all been there, and it is what it is. If your kids are into Lego, you've kind of got to go and do it. But personally, I don't think that's going to be your best option if you're looking for a theme park day out, because it's the most expensive and it will be the busiest. There's no doubt.
yeah.
Yeah, not in half term. I wouldn't advise going to Legoland in half term.
Not unless you have very patient and understanding children.
And also they don't usually, especially for these kind of events, have many food and drink outlets available.
No.
So what is available is always rammed and sort of even more stressful and depressing than it would normally be. So yeah, I would probably give that one a swerve for sure.
Yeah, yeah. But closer to you, Kip, Adventure Island's open now. This is like your local park, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. I guess you could say it's my home park, and I've spent many a summer there as a teenager, especially when I got my car. Driving up and down the front,
You're
going on
cruising.
some rides. Yeah,
You're
yeah.
like boy racer style.
Cruising in my Escort and then my Citroen Saxo. Yeah.
I swear to God, you are like literally like my husband reincarnate. Except he didn't have a Saxo, he had a Punto.
Oh,
But
okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
he got like a dispersal order or something from Nottingham City Council for doing that. Just cruising around in his little automobile.
Yeah,
aged
my
17.
UK garage classics blaring out the window.
Yeah. Absolute troublemakers, honestly.
But yeah, no, I do really like Adventure Island. I think it is quite underrated. It's a really nice day out. And like the annual passes for it at the moment, they're £40 for the
What?
entire year.
Wow.
Yeah. So you can go, and also you can buy them online now, and then you don't have to redeem. I think like the latest you can redeem them is like the end of December or something. So
Oh,
you can
right.
choose when your year starts.
Oh, that's
And
good.
yeah, and it's a really nice day out, and it's good to support a sort of a smaller local park. They've got a nice selection of rides. There's plenty of roller coasters there. They've obviously only got Rage, which is like the big ride, but the little roller coasters, they're all quite fun. They've got a dark ride, and it's just a really good day out. And as long as you've got an okayish weather day, you'll have a really good time there.
They got a dark ride, Kev.
I'm there. Is it a ghost train as well?
Yes, yeah.
It's a ghost train. Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Amazing.
Is it a classic ghost train?
Yeah, it's sort of it's not like a cheesy. It's sort of, I guess it's kind of a cross between your classic ghost train, but sort of more like a kind of bubble worksy style. It's sort of like a slightly cartoony theme, and I really like it. I think it's a really good place to go, and it's quite sort of underrated, really. It's yeah, it's I think it's a really decent option and definitely worth considering.
Has the ghost train got the sound effect on it?
No, I don't think it does.
And it was such a good impression as well.
That was good. Yeah, it was very good.
You know
I was-
what
I was-
I'm
I'm
doing, right?
surprised.
Yeah.
Have you- when was the last ghost train you went on?
Oh, I don't even know. It was Curse of Otter Manor, wasn't it? I'm
there
still
you go,
not
yeah.
fully recovered from it. Okay, will you be heading down to Adventure Island then, Kip, this half term? You going to have a little sneaky peek?
It's a possibility. I think yeah, it's a good day out, and I think if I'm going to do anything, it would probably be there and sort of being a bit closer to home.
Yeah.
I think I think if you're going somewhere, Polton's, especially with everything being open, that does sound like a good option. But I guess I don't really want to travel far to have a sort of subpar day. I
Yeah.
think, if I'm going somewhere, I think I'd rather go a bit closer to home. So yeah, definitely worth considering.
Bag of chips on the seafront.
Exactly. Load of donuts,
There we go. It's the
playing the
dream.
arcades. Yeah, exactly.
What about our other coastal park at Blackpool?
Blackpool, opening the first time in February half term for 10 years. Thank you,
Wow,
Amanda.
really?
Yeah, 10 years it's been since
Okay.
they've been open. It's not the whole park. Again, it is Nickelodeon Land, and Wallace and Gromit's open as well. So that's nice. There's obviously been a bit of a revival of interest in that since Christmas.
Of course, that makes sense.
Yeah, we won't have a new scene added, but
No, probably not.
it's a good dark ride. Oh yeah, Nickelodeon Land's, Nickelodeon Streak's open. There's a Woody to go and ride this Feb half term.
Well, there you go.
Why not?
Because there's not many coasters open. This is what we're like thinking about here when we talk about trying to get your coaster fixed. There isn't
know.
really,
It's tough, isn't it?
you know.
It's kiddie areas mainly that are open, and yeah, you've got your Octonauts or whatever, but
It's not just not the
gonna
same,
provide
is
the
it?
adrenaline rush. But
You
yeah,
know.
I'm positive about Blackpool opening because I think they need to try and do new stuff. I think we've said this on the podcast before. They need to revive interest. They need to get more people in the park. They need to get new people in the park. Kip, looking at you.
Yeah. I want to go
and
on Wallace and Gromit.
yeah, you'll love Wallace and Gromit.
Yeah, I bet I will.
It is a really well themed
It's really good.
ride.
It's
Yeah.
really good. See, I'm old enough that I remember what was there before when it was the
Gold
old mine.
mine.
The gold mine
Yeah.
was amazing. I was actually gutted actually because the old gold mine was a great dark ride, and yeah, I was a bit gutted when it changed to Wallace and Gromit, if I'm honest. But
They used to
it's still
interact.
good.
Used to interact with the river caves. Do you remember?
That's right. Yeah, it was really good, and the explosive ending and everything like
Yeah.
that was amazing. So, but yeah, it's still worth doing, particularly again. An interesting IP at Blackpool, but very classic British, isn't it? Like,
Yeah.
we think of Blackpool, we think of that kind of British seaside kind of thing. Wallace and Gromit kind of really fits somehow, really oddly, but it does work, riding around your little slipper.
You literally do. You literally do. Nickelodeon Land's not that big. Let's make no bones about it. It's fairly small. They've crammed quite a few rides into it, as Blackpool do. I wouldn't say it's probably a full day out there, but I suppose the beauty of Blackpool is that kind of adventure island thing as well. You're at the seaside, so you can go down the piers, go in the penny machines, win 10 million tokens, which your children then spend 3 hours at the counter trying to work out what they're going to spend them on.
Bag of Haribo.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. What can I afford? That.
They've also got other things included as well as the parks. So you've got like the ticket into Ripley's Believe It or Not as well.
Yeah, they're doing like a combi ticket
Adventure
thing, aren't
golf. Yeah, so you got the adventure golf.
they? The golf's
classic.
always through every time. Every time a
bit of
park
seaside
wants to
golf.
give you an option, an extra, it's always crazy golf.
Hey, I love crazy golf.
And the ice skating as well. I think they've included something.
Yeah,
on
you can
that possibly.
Yeah, I think they've done a combi ticket where you can get hot ice, and yeah, they're opening it up so that you can go for like a skate session as well.
Okay.
So you can
you have got a few other things to make it last a bit longer, basically.
Yeah. And also to get into Nickelodeon Land, this is the nerdy part of me. I'm thinking, well, there's only one way into Nickelodeon Land, really, and that's through the gate at the front of the park. Nickelodeon Land is not at the gate. It is in the far corner of the park.
Yeah.
So you're going to have to walk through the park to get to Nickelodeon Land, which means you can have a little sneak at everything that's been going on as well.
Yeah, have a little look around. And I guess it's clever, like you're saying, bringing new people in, because maybe if you've not been to Blackpool before, you go for half term.
Yeah.
You see Icon, you see the big one, you see the outside of Valhalla, or however they do it to get you in.
You see Launchpad, all
Launchpad.
painted up, ready to go,
and
ready
actually
to
you might-
thrust harder than ever before.
Right? Like, get me on that thing. Get me on it. But you can't help but then think, maybe people look at these rides and go, oh, look, that looks amazing. Maybe we need to come back.
Yeah.
So in some ways, you're getting that interest, like you say, Bex, about people who've not been before. They go for half term. They want a bit of SpongeBob for half term in Nickelodeon Land, and then, oh wow, Icon. Look, how big is the big one? I've never seen it up close before. And then you get that interest to, come back again. So maybe it's a good thing for them
I think
to do
it is.
that.
It's also really not that long until Blackpool start opening for their winter
That's true.
weekends. It's literally start of March they start doing that. So yeah, we're getting close. We are getting close to the full park openings. These are like little teasers, little appetizers, little canapes being brought around for us to sample, and whet our appetites for the 2025 park season, which we're all looking forward to.
Definitely.
We really are.
Yeah.
That's about the summary of the best that you can go and visit this half term. There are other places open. You've got your smaller parks, you've got your Sundown Adventureland, you've got your Gullivers. If you've got very small kids, these are all options for you. The main takeaway is, if you were promising your children a trip to Alton Towers, which you now cannot fulfill, just tell them you've got something even better for them, because you could pick any one of these options and you're going to go and have a great day out of them. You will not be disappointed at any of them.
No, not at all. Not at all.
No, I totally agree.
Have you guys got any plans yourself to visit anywhere?
I haven't, although, the thought of Polton's is quite appealing.
Do it.
Yeah, but Adventure Island's pretty easy. It's sort of a 45-minute drive from me. So, you know, that's definitely a distinct possibility, but I don't think I'd be venturing too far.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd love to go back to Alton Towers, but yeah, I don't think it's worth it for me.
You don't have
And
like the toddler age.
no,
children.
exactly.
You're not going
Again.
to get the most out of it. I think that's the problem, isn't it? I think that's why almost we'd look at Drayton Manor more than Towers at the minute, as much as I'd love to go back and visit before the start of the season. I just think there's other places that have got a bit more on offer.
Yeah. I mean,
Really?
the out there option, which I did suggest on TikTok as well, is if you are in the southeast, Kip, you could hop on the ferry and go over to Plopsaland.
Do you know what?
yeah.
We were literally talking about, me and my wife were talking about this morning and how easy it is to get there.
Yeah.
You
And
know,
that is fully open in half term.
Yeah.
Go and get on that ride to happiness.
Oh, yeah.
Coaster Tog himself says there is nothing greater than going on that ride. There's
I must admit, I do kind of have that itch that needs to be scratched. So,
Yeah.
you know,
You're
who
so
knows?
close. You could literally be in Dover in what, an hour and a
Yeah.
half, something like that.
Yeah, probably, maybe less the way my wife drives. So, you know.
I mean, there's going to be no upper class option on the Dover to Dunkirk.
Well, I'm
ferry
not doing that
crossing,
then.
so-
No. It's the only way I travel now.
Yeah.
Can't promise you the style in which you're now accustomed. But just think of the cheap wine that you can bring back from France as well.
Very true. Very true.
It's win-win. I would be very, very, very sorely tempted to go and do that. I am just currently waiting for my daughter's passport to come back from a passport office. So we will see. If it makes it in time, there may be a last minute family trip over to Belgium because, that ride is calling my name.
Oh,
And then you won't be that far from Efteling either, so you know you could just.
Let's not overcomplicate this. This is how it goes
This is
wrong.
what happens. This is what happens.
But it's usually me saying to my husband, I'm like, I was just going to do this, and then whilst we're there, we could just go and do this, and before he
Exactly.
knows, he's signed up to like a 2-week road trip somewhere. But yeah, I mean, it's all possible. You know, Efteling is absolutely a possibility for Feb half term. If you've got a few days off, you've got a few days to kill. It's not a there and back in a day, but you could do it there and back in 2 days if you were keen. There are options. That's what we are trying to tell you. So don't worry if you didn't get the Pirates Takeover tickets. Plenty of other ways to get a theme park fix. Right, that's about it from this week. Thank you very much, Kip, for joining me.
thank you for having me. It's been great once again.
Thank you, Kev, for joining.
Of course, no problem.
We hope you've enjoyed today's episode. If you have, give us a little follow. It means that you'll get a notification every time we release a new episode. And we'll see you back here next week for Parkcast.
Parkcast, the UK's original theme park podcast.